white set, different face, different feel, okay? If you recall with Phil, with his silver hair, we made that pop, okay, against the black. That was appropriate for him. With Brittany, different face, different coloration, she's gonna work better on white. We're gonna start with one light and just get a really nice, pretty, soft light for her face that's appropriate for her youth, her beauty, all that sort of stuff. Again, I'm using the C-stand. I'm gonna take Brittany's position roughly here. This light is too high for her, okay? So we're gonna take this over. Now, again, you can see the possibilities with the C-stand. She's got a beautiful shape of face, so instead of bringing a light from the side, I'm gonna bring it directly over her, so the shadow fall will be symmetrical. And that should frame her face really well. I couldn't do that with a regular stand, right? I'd have the stand right in the middle of the picture. So again, C-stand up and over, okay? That's still a little high, so what we'll do here is rotate it slightly and have it come down. All right. That's a group A, channel 1 light. Again, I'm at 250th of a second at f5.6. If I shoot that, okay, I basically have nothing. So anything that's gonna be seen on this set is gonna be something I light. Again, I'm using the pop-up or built-in as a commander only. You'll see the little wink light. That's just a signal to the remote flash that's underneath that umbrella, which this light cannot see. Let's just test. We got it. Reason being, the white in the background. Okay, that helps you out getting your commander signal to that remote light sensor panel that's on the light in the umbrella. No direct line of sight, but this is flipping off of that background, rebounding and picking the light up. Quick test, Brittany. Very nice. Okay, cool. Camera's holding exposure pretty well. Even though it's seeing a lot of white, the flash exposure for her is pretty much bang on. I have no blown out highlights. Everything's looking very nice. So let's just shoot a few of these because it's simple, it's clean, it's direct. Okay, Brittany, here you go. Eyes right to camera and perfect. If you notice, there's a little bit of hesitancy in the recycle. Yeah, taking a split second longer. Why? It's a reflected umbrella. It's traveling a fair ways to get to the subject. Good look, nice look. Okay, pretty simple and pretty clean. Easygoing light. The background does what? It's a white background, it fades to gray. Why? Not a lot of light is getting to it. Some light is, but not a ton. Hence, if it's not lit well, and we're gonna get into lighting a white background pretty soon, if it's not, doesn't have a full wash of light on it, it's not gonna be white. It's gonna be gray. She's got a beautiful face for maybe a little bit of low light. If you think about light, say, slanting through a window, hard light coming through a window, what's oftentimes the first thing it hits? The floor. And then that bounce off the floor fills the room with this kind of reflected, glowy kind of light. So let's do this. Let's take that principle, turn it in a little bit of a fashion-y twist by using a big silver board on the floor and a secondary light source, a group B light source. We're gonna use this tri-group. As you can see, it's got a big swatch of silvery reflective material. I'm gonna scientifically, absolutely exactly, position this relative to my subject. That should work out fine. Let's get a second light. Another use of the C-stand, or another possible iteration. See what I'm doing here? I'm bouncing this light down right into this surface. The C-stand extension arm enables me to do that really, really well. If you notice too, what is happening here, again, the right way to do this, my opinion, is to make sure when you bounce something, you don't bounce it at an angle. If I took this light and bounced it this way, which would be a tendency and pretty logical thing to do, okay? My feeling is that the light itself, we get a little hard towards her because she's going to see a fair amount of the light that's spilling out of the dome diffuser. So in other words, light is radiating this way. It's also angled this way. I could end up with some bad highlights on her knees. Let's just take a look and see if that, actually works out. Okay, we've got group A, group B programmed. This is speaking to both of them. I don't think that light is well placed. Let's take a look at the results. Okay, good. And another. Nice look, Brittany. Okay, yeah, I got a ton of highlights off the stool, and I basically lit the underside of her legs. Telltale giveaway that I got a low light happening on the set. So let's do this. Let's readjust this light. Couple of issues with bouncing light like this. I take the dome diffuser off because I don't want radiant light to circle out like this. I want the light to literally bounce. So I'm going to take this off, put it off to the side. I'm going to take this angle of approach and bring it straight down. Check out the zoom. I'm going to zoom it down a little bit, 85 millimeters. That's going to concentrate the light a little bit. I'm going to let it just be right there. Tighten that up. Sensor towards the camera, battery pack. Bang. Should look better. Going to pull this back a little bit so we get a larger swatch of silver underneath of it. Okay. Right like that. Perfect. Okay, Brittany, here we go. Good smile, right at me. Perfect. Really nice. Much better. Much better. There's a concentration of light. I lost the highlights off of the polished wood stool because it's not receiving direct light. With the dome diffuser, remember, there is that kind of radiant aspect of it, which means light's going off to the sides as well as coming out the front. It was the light to the sides that caused the highlight on the wood. Now, I got to taper it a little bit because it's a little too much low light. If you push too much low light at your subject, you could be in a danger zone because it could get to an unflattering level. Low light, remember, it has messages, evil, Halloween, all that sort of stuff. A flick of low light is beauty, glamour, Broadway, footlights. Okay. Good? Cool? All right. There we go. Good, 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 good. Cool. Okay. All right. Really pretty headshot. Actually, not really a headshot. It's kind of like full body, relaxed, very sweet pose, easygoing picture. It's more where he should be for her. Remember the light for Phil? Very specific, very hard, very dramatic. This is more of a wash. Remember the light that we liked for Phil from the umbrella was a shoot-through that we pushed in close and had drama and edge. I'm gonna leave this as a reflected light source because I want the wash of light. It should be overall. It should just drape itself on her. So even within the context of using an umbrella, there's methods of approach that are either gonna be appropriate or not. Shooting full length. Different set of parameters, right? Full length, you gotta deal with your lights, deal with the whole form. So what we did was we raised the umbrella a little bit and we backed off our fill or our bounce light down in here because I need the access to get to her full length. The lens needs to be clear of the lights. Brittany's gonna be standing there. She's gonna kind of do her thing. We haven't even addressed the background yet. Let's just see what we do with the full body and these two lights. Here we go. You ready? Okay, cool. Really nice. That's great. Perfect. Okay, good. Yep. That's it, girl. Kick that hip. Put the hands in the pockets. That's right. You can cross your toes over your toes or do whatever. That's it. Nice, cool. All right, perfect, right there. Hold that for a couple, hold that, stay there, stay there, stay there, and cool. Nice, very nice, way to go. Now we've just got a vinyl white backdrop and it comes under her and it holds detail really well, but it's not gonna be dead white, okay? But it works really well in terms of overall gradation. Her background, nice soft light. She can, you know, in this kind of general open lighting, she can run and dance and sing and jump and hoop and holler. Can you do all those things? Cool, all right, so that's what we're gonna do now. Brittany's gonna jump. I'm gonna get down on the ground. Why? The lower I get my camera angle, the more it's gonna make her look like Superwoman. Nice. Can we get the wind machine in, please? Now, 250 at 5.6, okay? With the flashes, I'm stopping her pretty good, okay? All right, here we go. Yeah, it's a fan. It's also called an eyeball dryer. All right, ready, and go. Nice. All right, ready, go. Nice. Cool. She's going right off the backdrop. Here we go. Ready, go. Nice. Cool. All right, 30 or 40 more and we're done. Okay, ready, and go. Good. Okay, now I saw something, just laugh, just like that. When I said 30 or 40 more, give me that smile. Okay, ready? Okay, cool, good. Okay, so we just did some fun, exuberant jumping pictures. You know, we'll get back to that in a few minutes. I think Brittany has established her NBA credentials, so we're not going to abandon that entirely. But, you know, I saw this wonderful set of smiles, and I charged the set. Made a couple of quick headshots, which were flawed, okay? Reason being, I expanded my light rig to accommodate the exuberance and the energy and the increased motion, right? So the lights came back. That's where a portrait, when you go back in, will suffer, okay? So I saw that immediately, had a hit on the forehead. I thought, I still want to get that. Let's quickly make a move. So what I did was, I took a 3-foot square of diffusion over the reflected umbrella. And I probably will have to move my fill light in as well. But let's just go for it and see if we can quickly generate just a beautiful kind of glamorous, fun headshot with her hair blowing and all that sort of stuff with a couple of quick adjustments in light. Double diffused, single flash up here. Still, basically, one light is doing most of the work up in here. Then we have a little flick bounce. It's a shrunk down version of what we had on the floor, moving in and close to her, and we're still gonna do the wind thing because her hair just, you you can't resist, right? Okay, here we go. Cool? Ready? All right, now let's get more wind. Like, almost like, is there a setting on that for gale force? Okay. All right. Let's see if we can come around from this side. We'll come here and come straight at her, okay? Okay, come. This way. This back, okay. Right up in there, good. All right, way to go, girl. Come on, giggle a little bit. This is the most ridiculous thing you've ever done. Awesome, cool. You're getting cold. Ah! That's it. Let's go. Let's do the perfect storm. Here we go. Ah! Okay, good. It was just a fun, energetic couple of minutes on the set. And what I did was I tried to just show how you can quickly just shrink things back down. And it's important to do that because if you just settle or satisfy, remember we had the lights far away, she was jumping, it worked out fine for that. But for a portrait, there's gonna be some flaws. A little highlighting, a little brassy quality to the light. Hence, we double diffused up in here, put another sheet in, got it much closer to her, right? And then we shrunk down the fill board and did a little kind of mini version, handheld right in front of her. Then we blew her hair. What I did was I played with the ratios of the light. That's where the game really kind of gets fun, okay? A group, B group. I kept toggling back and forth, a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit, just getting them to match in the middle. Your classic beauty combination is, generally speaking, your dominant or main light, say it's f8, your fill should be about f5.6, maybe f4, depending on your taste, but it runs at least a stop or two under your main. And that was the ratio I was going for with the TTL lights that I had working on the set. Brittany, of course, cooperated by just getting all sorts of giggly, and it was fun, and we blew, Arctic winds her direction, and she was great about it. So we got a couple of fun snaps. What's missing on this set so far, okay? A white background. That's what we tackle next. One of the most frequently asked things of any photographer is to be able to light white. A white background, for instance. Sounds like a no-brainer, but there are some tricks to doing it, and you have to be able to finesse it properly. You have to be able to get your ratio up front in your foreground and relate that to your background ratio as well. First things first, let's get the foreground or the main light right. What I do on the set, especially if I'm gonna have somebody moving around a little bit energetically, I give them a hash mark. Okay, so stay right here, sweet. Okay, Callie, can you put a black stripe right across there on the edge of the vinyl? Okay, same thing over on this side, please. Right along where she's standing there, okay? So that's roughly your position. So now my subject knows when they move around, they come back to that area because that's where the sweet spot of the light is gonna be. Okay, let's test it. What we did with this, because we're gonna get energetic on the set, we had to back the light off. We have a single lone speed light, group A, in this reflected umbrella. A distance from the subject, that's gonna have a tendency to lose quality. I'm gonna strive to pull some of that back by rediffusing the light with a Elastilite 3-foot square panel, one-stop diffuser. So now we kind of built a bridge of C-stands, and we have this main light powered with one speed light washing through this diffusion. Should be nice and smooth, okay? Let's get that right first. Okay, here we go, Brittany. Group A, channel 1. You look fantastic, as always, okay? I don't know, it's just about perfect. TTL wins in this situation. Let's just remind ourselves of where we are. 250 at 5.6, 0-0 compensation in the camera, 0-0 compensation here. Auto white balance, okay, she's jumping, so I'm using a 3D type of tracking focus mode for her, where lots of points are active and they're gonna grab her without a problem, and I'm gonna get something that's sharp. Now, fill light, okay? We gotta get a little low wash into this because again, it's kind of fashiony. What we're gonna build is a bit of a commercial set, something along the lines of, you know, a department store ad or young fashion or teens alive, you know? You do that so well. So that's what we're gonna do. So we need some energy to the light. So we're gonna bounce some low light into her and just pop it up at her. So again, I'm using silver because there's no color cast to it really. Okay, it has a fashiony gleam to it. Okay, if I used a gold board, she'd get warm. I don't really want to turn her into the Great Pumpkin right now. Here we go. Let's keep this out in here. We're gonna have to back this off too because again, I'm gonna have to come right over it and find her as she's jumping around on the set. Okay, let's bring that fill light in. Now, that's a B group light. I try to be logical as best I can because I'm not the most organized person in the world. So A is the main, B is the fill, C is the background. 3 groups can correspond to 3 areas of a photograph: foreground, middle ground, background. B group is flipping off of this silver board. Let's see if that affects the scene. Got to do this here at the master light, okay? I have to activate group B. Okay, TTL 00. You'll see this flash. Again, same thing as the little pop-up commander. You'll see this guy flash. That flash is not an exposure-making flash. It's just talking to those lights. Okay, here we go. Brittany, just be your gorgeous self. We don't need to do much right now. We still got a gray background, so we're gonna fix that now. We're gonna get some brightness to the background. That's group C. If you notice, I've got 4 lights, 2 aside. Only 2, the top 2, are gonna be active right now. We'll do 2, and then we'll see the difference in nuance and subtlety with 4. 4 lights to the background is actually kind of ideal because it means that you get coverage. Let's go on to the set and we'll talk about positioning. Upper light, sensors towards the camera. If you notice, it's not pointed at this side of the background. It's pointed at that side of the background. Same thing with that. Right-hand light, lights left side of background. Left-hand light, lights right side of background. What I want is this light to be thrown all the way to the other side, vice versa. Then they mix and I have a chance at a relatively evenly lit background. It's a cross light pattern. It's very standard, very typical. Predictably, those 2 lights in the background are working pretty hard. You'll hear it. To get a real white background, I have them running at +3. That means they're at the edge of what they're capable of. So let's take a look and listen for the recycle. That's not a recycle beep. That's a desperate cry for help, okay, from my background lights. Now I got 4 lights active in the background. Let's see what happens. Okay, I'm still asking a lot of them at +3, but I am spreading the workload out. We're clean, it's white, and there's no blinking highlights. We're right on the edge of where we should be. Okay, Brittany, let's do this. I'm gonna see if I can minimize my horizon line, get the camera low, make her fly like Superwoman. Okay, ready? Okay, I'm gonna get even lower, guys. This is also where it gets interesting. This is why I'm a photographer. I can make a living rolling around on a floor. All right, minimize horizon line, maximize her height. Ready, and go. Nice look, way to go, way to go. All right. Okay, and go. Cool. I'm gonna make a minor adjustment here because I never leave well enough alone. I never met anybody I couldn't overlight. So let's get a little more low light going. Let's take the B group from +1 to +1.7. Ready, and go. Nice, and go. Cool. Ready, and go. Nice. Ready, and go. Nice. Ready, and go. Nice, all right, good. How about a round of applause for Brittany? And could somebody actually help me up? One of the most important, necessary, sensitive tasks of being a digital photographer is to keep your sensor clean. And you can do it yourself, okay? And I'm gonna show you how. It's a tough job. I already cleaned 2 cameras today. Look at all the stuff that came out of it. You get your basic wet dry vac, you go to high, all right?
Dude, what are you doing? I told you not to touch the sensors.
I was just trying to, you know, get them clean.
You take the pictures and I'll take care of this, all right?
Cool. Nice. I want you to, Anya, instead of leaning on him, throw your arm around him. And Susan, why don't you connect with Anya? Okay, cool. All right, way to go, you guys.
Look at Joe.
Here we go, cool. Good, good, look, you guys, way to go. Perfect. Good. 250 at 5.6. There's no ambient light on the set. It's all coming from the flash, which is one umbrella, a reflected umbrella, which actually covers the whole family quite nicely. Okay, we got all 4 faces nicely lit. Now, a little bit more light on Patrick. And if I want to adjust that, I could easily do this. It's called a process called feathering the light, where we just take it and actually swivel it just a little bit. So now, if you notice before the light was going straight here, now a lot of it is blowing this way. So it's gonna take some of the heat, a little bit, off of Patrick and direct it more to the far side of the picture over here by Anya. Okay? Now, let's see. I'm gonna take you off that stool. Good? Really nice, really nice. Perfect, okay. I'm gonna take that sandbag away from you, Aiden, and we're gonna put Mom. We're gonna let Mom relax on the stool.
Do I have to sit crisscross?
No. Right in the middle. Okay. Good, good. Nice. Let's see how this works. Okay, here we go. Cool. Good job. Okay, so here's a problem. Directional light coming across Aiden is shadowing Anya. So I gotta fix that, okay? Logical, right? The light's coming this way and it's gonna hit this way, okay? So Anya and Patrick change places.
Sandbag or no sandbag?
Sandbag for you as well. Let's see where you are. Reason I did that was that Patrick is wearing a lighter garment than Anya, and he's now furthest from the light. Now, Susan, I can't have your head directly behind him, so he's gotta, Aiden, come this way just a touch, just a hair. Yeah, that's good. Right there. Okay. Good. Way to go, guys. Very nice. Cool. Looking good. Nice. Perfect. Okay, one speed light, one umbrella, pretty good coverage. I'm at f5.6. Do you think that's enough? I don't think so. Okay, if I check my file, what I'm probably gonna find is that the focus pull is fine up front for Aiden. Starting to fade just a touch when it gets back to Susan. So now I'm gonna need f8. So this is where strategy starts to come in. Okay, can I tax that light at f8? Okay, ISO 200. Let's give it a try. Perfect, way to go, you guys. Nice, pretty, awesome. Good job, good job. Anya, you are a smile machine. Okay, good job. Way to go. Nice. Great look. Way to go, you guys. Perfect. We had one umbrella. It was efficient. It did the job actually better than I thought it would. But it was kind of a cold light. Didn't have a lot of warmth to it. It was a distance away from my subjects. So by the time it got to them, it had kind of an edge that you'd like to soften for a family portrait. So I went to this 3-foot by 6-foot diffuser panel, 2 light sources. 2 light sources do 2 things for me. They spread out the workload, hence I get a faster recycle, and they increase or ramp up the volume of light. Not the power, because it's still TTL. I was 250 at f8 with the umbrella. I'm at 250 at f8 with 2 lights through a panel. No change there, but the volume of the light source itself has been ramped up. Hence, the effect on my family here is that the light is a little softer, a little richer, a little creamier. Good job, you guys. Fantastic. Great looks. Fantastic, good. Aiden, chin down just a touch. Good, good smile though. Fantastic, great, great. Real nice, real nice. Good look, way to go. All right, this is really nice. Let's take it a step further. Let's bring in a fill board. What we're gonna do now is, because all this light is overhead, we're gonna bring in just a simple fill board underneath, out of frame, that will dish a little light that's coming from this direction back up into them. And that should be pretty pleasing as well. Okay, you can be right about there. Good faces, way to go, way to go. Susan, you look great, hang in there. Cool, cool, really nice, way to go, you guys, perfect. So now we have 2 up, 2 down. The lights on the floor are off the type of reflector cloth that also comes in the Lastalite kits. This down here is called a Sunfire, which is not a solid warm reflector. It's broken up. It's got lines through it, okay? So it's a little softer in its effect. Should add a little warmth to the photograph. It's a little silvery, a little reflective, so I'll have to see how we do. Right now we have A group at 0-0 compensation, C group at 0-0 compensation. I think that means C group is going to be too strong. Let's take a look. All right, gang, here we go. Nice job. We just turned these poor folks into the Addams family, okay? Too much low light. So what I'm going to do is take C group and immediately knock it down by 2 stops. Here we go. Now, I still think the low light is too much. I'm going to take a little more out of it. Now we're down to -3. Okay, see what your brother's doing there? And do that, nice. And just kind of like, yeah, kind of, you know, lean against each other like, hey, I'm a tough guy, you know, I'm a tough guy, don't mess with me. All right. Cool, good look, way to go, gang. The lights are playing together pretty well. I'm a little bit thick or dense in the exposure, so let me do this. Nice, good, okay. What I did was, I have a good ratio now between the upper lights and the lower lights, but the overall exposure was a little thick, dense, underexposed. I don't want to waste time by going into each individual group and bouncing them upwards. What I can do is go right into my EV or exposure value button on the camera. I'm on manual, 250 at f8. The camera's not going to listen to any exposure value adjustment that I program because I have the camera set to manual. I'm telling it what to do. But what does listen to that? The flashes. means both the flashes now, if I program in +1, both the flashes in unison, in the same ratio, go up 1 stop. The flashes listen to the EV adjustment in the camera. This is a global adjustment that speaks to both groups simultaneously. So now that I have them and I'm liking where they are, I send them both up with one, push button right here, instead of going multiple times up here. Quick field tip, saves you a few seconds. Here we go, gang. I bet you I can keep up with you. Keep smiling at me, Aiden, and I'll keep taking pictures. Perfect. Okay, got you guys. Really nice. Okay, let's bring on the black background for the children. Your mother's gone now, so you're on the set all by yourselves. Same light shaping tool, different position. From the front, it was soft and even. From the side, it'll have shadow and character. I'm gonna try to stay up in your faces here, okay? So try to concentrate on facial expressions. Okay, here we go. Good look, you guys. All right. Anya, turn back into the picture. Way to go. Let's take a shoot-through umbrella, please. So what I'm doing here is, because I have this overhead, really nice, smooth overhead light, but I'm missing a little bit of spark in the eyes. I'm gonna see if I can get underneath that light and use this roughly as an on-axis umbrella fill, okay? Think of it as a nice-looking straight flash, used very weakly. Now, I want you to kind of hang on to each other. Ready? Heads together. Ready? Cool, good look. Good look, you guys. Way to go, way to go. Patrick, squeeze your brother and squeeze their heads into you. Ah! Stay there, stay there, stay there. Nobody move. Ah! Cool. Let's do that one more time. Okay, let's see where we are. Oh my goodness. All right. All right, back off just a half a foot or so. Boop. Cute, good, good. Way to go, gang. Way to go, way to go. Cool. Good, good. All right, nice. All right, squeeze, you guys. Come on. Ah! No, too much, too much, too much. I gotta see you all. Gotta see you all. Oh my goodness. Aiden, pressure's on, dude. Pressure's on. You're up front. You're up front. Patrick, it looks like you're about to squeeze the life out of Aiden. So why don't you take your hand off his neck and maybe just throw it around his shoulders or something, or around his back. There you go. Good, good. All right. Good look. I want you guys to be very serious. No smiling allowed. Let's see how long you can do that. Yeah. All right, you guys, here we go. Last couple of frames. Almost done. All right, ready? Oh, sorry. I knew I'd get him. I knew I'd get him. You guys are goofballs. Almost as big a goofball as me. Okay, we're in Dobbs Ferry, New York, outside of the Valentino shoe repair shop. Classic small business, classic assignment for a photographer. Go into a small shop like this and make a picture of the proprietor, you know, that shows a face in a place. This place has been around for a long time. It's got a worn out workbench. It's got old tools. The gentleman really fits, you know, because he's been here for a while. It's his shop. Basically, you're doing a portrait, but more than that, you're not just looking at the face of someone, you're looking at them in their place of business. So all that information is important to do it well, so you can use that environment to talk about this person and tell their story, who they are, what they do. To me, immediately, the character of the owner is expressed in his workbench and the traditional areas there that he's, just obviously labored on that desktop for many, many years, repairing shoes. That to me is the heart and soul of the place. All this other stuff, you look around, it's, store-bought manufactured shoe products, he's the original item. He's the character, he's the soul of the shop. So that's where I think we're going to locate the photograph, is back towards the back end of the shop where the real work happens. I think I found my angle, kind of right away. Could you turn the lights off, please? Believe it or not, one of my first and foremost strategies in a place like this, it's small, there's window light, is to shut the artificial illumination off completely. I don't think it's going to trouble me on a white balance aspect of the photograph, because again, there's so much daylight. But do you see the place just feels better, without that overhead fluorescence? The feel of a workbench is to have a work light. So what we're going to do is take a LumaQuest 3.0 softbox, which is a nice light source, but it's small and contained, and it has punch and direction. So if I locate it properly, it could end up looking like the workbench light that Mr. Shim is using while he's doing the shoes. And that's a good thing, because you don't want to draw attention to your own lighting. You don't want to walk into something that's kind of cool looking and then trample it with your own light. You want to sort of, it's the whole idea of like lighting something but not seeing that light. Our basic lighting rig, at least we'll start with this, Justin clamp, SB900, LumaQuest 3.0 softbox. A couple of tweaks. The Justin clamps still come with a cold shoe from the factory that's a little rough to squeeze the SB900 foot into. So we've adapted ours, and we have a strobo frame piece on here now that's a clip. Just tighten it down. Works pretty well. Justin clamp itself is great. You can clip it on stuff and move it all around. It's got a pretty good ball head, and you can clip it and clamp it places, get a lot of omnidirectionality to the light. The diffuser for these guys, I keep the diffuser on when I use these, because I want the light to be as soft as I can make it, which isn't going to be all that soft because it's a small source. It's going to have some punch. But I leave the diffusers on, and then I just wrap the softbox around the light source. Can we put a little maybe shoe polish or something on your hands? Just get them a little bit, like more, it's like the end of the day rather than the beginning of the day. Going a little bit Hollywood on you. Yeah.
More?
Yeah, that's great. That's perfect. All right, so my basic camera angle is going to be this way, but it's a wide shot. So I got to tuck this up and away. All right, so again, we're going to work TTL. I'm going to send a signal to it, and we'll just judge exposure. First things first, though, I'm going to see what my ambient level is. No flash. One of the very first and foremost components of any flash scenario like this in an environment is to shoot no flash, okay? See what the scene is like. The most important thing about any photograph, obviously, is not about where you put the light, it's about where you put the camera. So I think I've got my camera in a pretty good spot to make a fairly effective photograph here, but I want to see what the tenor of that photograph is without me messing with it at all. I just want to see what the available light quality is right now here in the shop. So to that end, I'm going to use aperture priority. That's kind of my scouting mode, aperture priority, click around, find light, okay? Look all over the place, click, click, click. The LCD, these guys are like high-def television you got in the back of your camera now. It's like a super Polaroid, except you don't have to wait for it. I'm going to try to retain some depth. I've got a 14-24 lens on, matrix meter. Okay, what we're going to do here is going to go with an auto white balance. See how that looks and feels. Pretty nice. Got some good detail in the background at that point in time. All right. I think it's time maybe to just try a quick flash exposure. I've got a lot of light coming this way. Okay. That's good. That's good. To leave that on. That's good. Yep. Okay. Initial flash exposure is horrible. It's too frontal. It's too much from this angle. You can see how I'm washing the light here. So I'm going to see if I can shift it along here a little bit more so I get more angle out of it. Okay, if this is here, Mr. Shim.
Okay.
Pretty nice. I think the whole shop, though, is feeling a little cool in terms of the auto white balance, so I'm going to shift it over into cloudy white balance. Cloudy white balance, as you know, is a warm version of daylight. It presumes there's clouds, which tend to cool down sunlight or daylight. Much nicer feel. The warmer feel, I don't know, it's psychological. It feels more like a small shop when it's warm, inviting. Look at all the wood tones. That's, I think, a stronger color palette to work in. Now, there are those who would argue and say, don't worry about it, you're shooting raw, you can change it later. I'd rather know what it feels like now, okay? Because it speaks to my gut. If I have something that's cold or very neutral, you know, that's not the feel that you want out of this. You want the warmth of a inviting small shop in a small town. And I'm pretty close to Mr. Shim with a wide lens, so I'm risking a little bit of distortion. But I think it's worth it to try to maintain that fine line, that boundary, because I want as much of the shop as I possibly can get. Now, because I'm in the realm of a portrait, I feel like I can, quote unquote, interfere with Mr. Shim. I can ask him if I can direct him a little bit. So I'm gonna see if I can cheat his body angle a little bit towards me. Mr. Shim, could I ask you to spin a little towards me while you're working? So in other words, instead of working this way, you work more this way.
Okay.
Sure. That's great. All right, it looks like it's the workbench light. It doesn't look like flash. I'd like to make it a touch more glamorous for him, so now that I got his body position working pretty much the way I'd like it to be, I'm gonna see if I can get this light a little bit lower and a little closer to my camera angle. You can see the Justin clamp is like really working out, because I got a lot of versatility in where I can put that light. Yep, that's better. Okay, so I'm gonna go to ISO 400. Let's see how I do with that. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if I can get a little more quality out of this light. Now, Mr. Shim, this is gonna look a little odd, but I'm gonna stash this right in front of that light over here. Is that okay with you? Just rest it there, all right? All right, so I'm working a D3X camera at ISO 400. I set myself at manual, reason being, changing lenses, zooming a little bit, the more I see, or the less I see of that tremendous amount of backlight, going to affect my exposure, which could then affect my TTL flash, okay? So right now, I locked it down. I'm at 25th at f5, so I know that my exposure relative to him is constant. The thing that might change is maybe his body position, etc., changes, and then there's a little more light from the back. He's filling the frame a lot with his dark shirt, so the flash was outputting a little bit more than I wanted to, so I kind of kept feathering it. First grouping was maybe -1, I believe. Then we went to -1.7. So bracketing your flash, everybody talks about bracketing, they think, okay, shutter speeds, f-stops. I bracket my flash, you know, because when you get back and you want that subtlety, and you don't want to be introducing it in post, you want to see it, the richness of it in file. So that's what I'm trying to do here. 25th at f5, I'm going to go to 250 at f5, just for laughs, just to see what it looks like. It's not the blown out, radiant background that I had before, and that serves a purpose, okay, because it's, you know, washing all over the shop. But say, for instance, you wanted just a slight bit more control. That's where we're going to go next. We're going to put another light deeper into the shop, trigger TTL from back there at camera, and it's gelled with a full cut of CTO, color temperature orange. It's a popular gel. I use it a lot. It takes daylight and it pushes it warm. It is a full conversion. One full cut, as they refer to, is a full conversion from daylight to incandescent or tungsten white balance, which means when you stay daylight at the camera, that light will now behave like a tungsten bulb in the background, meaning it'll go warm. Like late afternoon light is pouring into the shop. Cold color, warm color play well together, okay? They resonate, they vibrate, because they're on either side of the color wheel, okay? They jam up against each other in a pleasing way. They draw the attention of the eye. Paint pole, handheld, small stand, a little bit of a lever, Justin clamp, all sorts of solutions are available to you in here if you're working by yourself. It's great to have an extra pair of hands, but failing that, probably what I'd do is take the Easy Box, I'll put a little cross piece on a stand and bring it right in here, because I think this is where it needs to live. So now I'm at a 30th at 5.6 at ISO 400. I'm still on a cloudy or warm white balance. The light in the background is gelled with a CTO, which makes it warm. Coupled with the cloudy white balance, it's very warm. This light has no gel on it, but it will be slightly warm because of my white balance here, but there's no active gel on this light right now. So you can just stay right like that, Mr. Shim. I'm just gonna do a quick test. All right, so that foreground light is pretty hot. -2 here, okay, on the A group light. Take my shutter speed down just a touch. Now I'm going to effectively use Mr. Shim as a gobo for that light back there. I'm going to get a little below him, so that background light will be effectively hidden by him. I have found, and this is not a scientific observation, it's a field kind of note, if I have the actual TTL light in my frame, it's firing right back into the lens, it tends to quench itself, okay, which does make sense. So I'm going to take that light and wrangle it now manually. I'm going to put it into manual, 1/2 power. Now I don't have to worry about the vagaries of it, okay, if I kind of move around a little bit and see the light, okay, because that is the mechanics of the camera. When it sees the actual light, it's basing its judgment on reflectance and all those different things, so it just kind of drives the TTL brain a little nuts. And now we have a photograph, nicely balanced, good glow in the background, highlights. He looks great. Could I have that big gold tri-grip, please, Mike? Like opening a sail. It's kicking a little bit of light into the underside of Mr. Shim's forearm here. So 50th at 5.6 is what we have. The whole shop is lit now, and I don't have to worry about the fading sun out there at this point. The press photographer came up with the idea to do some pretty cool small light shapers. This is a honeycomb grid. Okay, it columnates the light. We'll see it a number of times, or varieties of it. Controls the light, because I don't want, again, a lot of spill back here. And this is, I'll see where I can place it. I'm a little constrained because tight space, wide lens, all that. Little known use of the Justin clamp. Kind of puts your light on the floor, and if you angle it right, it actually remains stable. And now at the very end, I'll just, again, live a little dangerously, go super wide, see how that looks. Mr. Shim's expression doesn't change very much because he's concentrating. So what I'm really looking here and responding to is the expression of his hands. When they move in a cool way, I try to follow them. And his hands are moving pretty fast, hence I'm shooting pretty fast. I really would shoot this picture all day. I love stuff like this. I love old shops. I love stuff on shelves and light and stuff like this. It's just a hoot. And, you know, it took me a while, but this picture, I'm quite honestly very happy with. Let's call it a day right there. Wonderful. A small light like this is not for everybody, okay? Some folks need an umbrella, some folks need fill and bounce, some folks need really soft light. Certain faces can handle a hard directional light, which this is at this point. It's directional, but it's also fairly soft in the sense that it's close to him. So it's a simple arrangement, a LumaQuest 3.0 softbox. The actual flash still has the diffuser on it, the diffuser dome, then it goes into the 3.0. So it diffuses and then softens again. The real key to it, though, is how close it is, okay? How close it is to my subject. There is a punch to it and then an immediate fall off. That gives the light some shadow, which lends itself to a little bit of mystery, a little bit of drama, all of that stuff. TTL, the light is reacting to his distance, and how fast I'm shooting, skin tones, all that sort of stuff. As I'm moving, the camera's getting different information from the backlight, and it's internally, its brain is adjusting for me. Tavish got a great, you know, sort of strong face for a strong light like this. Let's see where this brings us. Aperture priority, I'm at 200 at f8. Good. I want the windows to blow out a little bit more, so I'm gonna go manual. I'm gonna open up a bit, 100 at f8. Cool? Great. Good look. Let's move down just a bit. Let's take a look. Okay. All right, perfect, here we go. Good look. Nice. Cool. So if you notice, I got the light really close to Tavish. Again, I'm getting good recycle. Good. It actually pushes back just a touch more away from me and push in towards him. Cool. Good, good. Now when you push a light into someone, you get a couple things happen. You get a ramp up in terms of the softness and kind of the wrap of it, but also you get accelerated fall off, which is what I've got going now. And he's got a perfect face for it. Hits his cheek, slashes the highlight into shadow, looks really good. Here we go. Perfect. Good look. Way to go. Stick with it. Good. That's it. Good look. Right there. Right there. Cool. Great. Cool. Nice. Right there. Good. Stay with it. Stay with it. I couldn't move that fast without small flash, and I couldn't move that fast without TTL because he's moving his distance in relationship to the light, and the TTL is adjusting minutely for me. Now I'm going to try to do a minimum depth of field sort of portrait where I blow the background out a little bit at f1.4. My first iterations were at 7.1. So I'm going to have to work a little more carefully to make sure my foreground stays in focus. To do this, I've run my shutter speed on my camera up really, really high, okay? I'm photographing now at 3200, almost directly into backlight. That's an unheard of shutter speed in years gone by. But if you look at what I'm getting here, okay, 3200 at f1.4, okay, is dropping the focus right on Travis's eyes, but dropping everything else out. Can I get a flashlight, please? entirely backlit situation at f1.4. My advice is do what I was doing there, use a flashlight. Either put one on a stand if you're by yourself, okay? Switch it on, switch it off. You have to get focus. It's so critical at 1.4. You have to get drop focus right on the eyelashes. Otherwise, you know, in a backlit situation, the focus system of the camera will get confused because the camera focus systems, any camera focus systems, thrives on contrast. The contrast is all out there. There's almost nothing right in here. And if you noticed how fast I was shooting, okay, I don't want to waste time. Once I get that thing going on and I know I'm critically sharp, I'm rocking. That's part of the reason the light is so close, in addition to reasons of quality. Hey guys, bet you don't think an old guy like me can still dunk a basketball.
Yeah, right. Don't think so.
Very typical, you know, of a small college gym or high school gym. Not too much going on. All right, the flag gives me some ideas. It's not a huge flag, but it's kind of cool scene down there. One of the very first things I would sort out would be to play with white balance, see if I can get some interesting color, even if it's not like quote unquote natural, and try to get some graphics going that could possibly work to take this relatively bland space and make it an interesting graphic type of scene to do an athletic portrait. So it's very handy to test the lights because they test in sequence and you can tell right away if your CLS groups are seeing your commander flash. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this commander flash and I'm going to program all three groups into it. TTL. So now I have A, B, and C, TTL. This M group, or master group, is going to fire. You'll see the flash fire, but it's not an exposure-making flash. It's just an impulse going to those lights. Morse code for flashes. The monitor pre-flash that comes from here actually talks to those lights. Beep, 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 back and forth, and there's communication and information being transferred. If you want to know if your lights are being triggered and they're seeing this flash, hit your test button. A, B, C, okay? They trigger in sequence. When photographing athletes, not always, but a good potential strategy is to get low. Get a low camera angle, look up at them. Why? They look bigger. They're more imposing physically. And generally speaking, if you're assigned to photograph an athlete, you're trying to, you know, emphasize their physicality, their prowess, their abilities, all of that stuff. So I'm gonna ask you to be right about there. Okay, so I got a person there. Take a look at how the camera's handling that. We're doing okay in terms of all of the balance in the frame. So there's nothing special about this place, right? It's just a gym. So what do you do to create drama? A potential idea is to underexpose it. You know, if it's not that interesting, make some of it go away, being the mechanism of exposure. So let me take this down to -2. Let me go to -3. Okay, our potential exposure is going to be someplace between -2 and -3. Okay, those marks come up later. First things first, I'm going to take Group A for Brian. Group A flash is this one. I'm going to take the dome diffuser off, and we're going to go with some hard light. It means I'm going to do a zoom. I'll start off with a 200 millimeter zoom, which is pretty tight, pretty punchy. Now, Brian's vertical, right? Flash is horizontal. So to get kind of a line of light along an athlete's body, I oftentimes take the lights themselves and orient them so they are vertical. Keep my sensor towards the camera and put it somewheres around in this way. Now, we oftentimes, as you see, put our battery packs, we bite into the Justin clamp. In this instance, I'm going to take that out because I'm going to need a little pitch control for this light. Get it up a little bit high. Brian, does that light look like it's at your face? Okay, so basic light approach here. Remember now, I'm an aperture priority. I'm underexposing by 2 stops. So that means what? In aperture priority, I've gone into my plus or minus EV button right here, and I've dialed in -2 EV. Stops, 1 EV. It's a package of light. Basically, when you cut 1 stop, you're cutting the light in half. 2 stops, same process, okay? You go from stop to stop, you're either doubling or halving your light. So starting at -2, as I said, you know, Brian's pretty seriously underexposed. The whole scene is underexposed. Okay, not bad. Now, let's light. When I program in aperture priority a signal into the camera to go -2, that doesn't just translate to the ambient light condition that the camera is observing, it also translates to the flash. So now I've effectively told that flash to go -2. So let's not expect too much from it. Okay, it didn't do badly. It's pumping out just enough light, even at -2. Why? It's kind of perceiving, you know, dark walls, etc. All of the atmosphere in here, even though it's bright to our eye, the camera's looking at as if it's a little bit deep in the background. So, can we get Brian a basketball? Okay, cool. You can actually stay just like that, but look back at that light, Brian. Okay, that's your key light right there. So my basic exposure here, right now, is running 125th, let me go to f8, at an 80th of a second. Flash is keeping up with me pretty well. Look again, please, Brian. So, -3, the room is pretty dim, but we got a key light on Brian. Could I get, I don't know, D, how about you come on out? At f8, one of the reasons I chose f8 is that's a fair amount of depth of field, because I'm going to try to get ball players at multiple levels of depth into the photograph, and I need to retain sharpness and depth this way. Okay, and D, this will be your light here. Okay, orient the sensor towards the camera. All right, so group B light. Build this stuff in pieces. If you run in here and throw up 3 lights and 3 ball players and do all of this stuff simultaneously, you will have multiple problems and have absolutely no idea which particular light is causing which particular problem. So set them up in turn, okay, take your time. All right, I know time is of the essence in the field, but get there early. Negotiate to get there early, okay? Here we go. B group, 0-0 compensation, okay? Now D, you're gonna look at your keys, guys. These are your lights. Okay, not so bad. Getting there. Can you give me a Honnold barn door on the bottom edge of that light, please? That's going to cut any spill that's going to the floor. And great job, way to go. Cool. All right, better. Chris, could you come on out, please? Let's bring in group C. Okay, so we got 3 lights. So let's test them as we did before, sequentially. Good. So they're all seeing the signals. All right, right at your lights, guys. Cool. Better. Interesting. Happy accident. What's happening, which could be easily predicted, even at a 200mm zoom throw, that light behind Chris is edging his shoulder, which means I don't have to put up a backlight for him. The light's doing double duty, okay? You could say that's a mistake. I'm glad I made it. So I'm underexposing it dramatically, really soaking down the background exposure, which leaves me with what in the background? The details of the hoop, the details of the court, and the one icon in the whole picture, which is the American flag. So let's take the last light that we're gonna do, and this is where it gets interesting and dangerous, because now what do I have? I got 4 lights in the field, and I've got 3 zones of control. That means I can alter 3 groups. I can tell them to go up and down EV-wise, but now I have a 4th light. I got a wild card of a light. So someplace along the line, that light has got to conform to the exposure levels I'm dictating to these lights. Living dangerously, but let's give it a try. Just run around a little bit, all right? Get a sweat going. Sweat's always good, you know. Athlete gets a little glisten off their skin, physical totem or outward sign of exertion, you know, that kind of thing. We're gonna have to work that light in, and we're gonna see if we can spot the American flag. Put that light in group C, please, Mike. So what I'm doing now, I'm playing with white balance. I just want to see if there's some white balance along the dial that looks cooler or more interesting than what I got now. But there's such a bleed of light in here that's a big mix. You know, these vapor lights, the daylight, you know. We might have hit on something. Let's put another full cut of CTO in that, please. And let's put 2 full cuts in each of these lights. A little bit of spill on the floor here, so I'm gonna barn door this as well. Cut it down. Now, Brian, could you look at your key light, please? Good. Here we go. D, right at your light. Chris, this is yours. Good. Okay. I'm getting a little bit lucky here in that Chris's light with the gels and whatnot has gotten a little subdued. So I gotta put more power into that, which isn't the worst thing in the world. Why? Because it's already running at plus 1.3. It's the same light as the flag. The flag needs a little more juice too. So I'm getting lucky in the flip of the coin of using that particular group or zone. So group C goes up 1 stop. Group A is Brian's light. Group B is Darian's light. And group C is Chris and the flag. At your lights, key. Good, here we go. Ready again, guys? Flag light needs to pan slightly left. Okay. Why don't you look off that way? Okay, yep, up there. Let me just see how that looks. Nice. Let me just double check sharpness here, make sure we're doing okay. Everybody strong, here we go. Couple of minutes, we'll be done. Cool? Nice, good look. All right, gotcha guys. Thank you. I just saw a quick opportunity with Chris. We built this in about, less than 10 minutes. A snooted grid for his face, a couple of wing lights for him, and then a spotted grid for the American flag. So again, 3 zones, A, B, and C. And I'm just controlling the exposure of the room. The room is staying blue, but then I put the circle or the highlight off the flag and bring that back into exposure realm. Okay, let's do a walk around. A group light, flashpoint snooted grid. Controls the light, tightens it up. That's his key light. It's a hard, raw kind of key light. Pretty dramatic. Fills the eyes, pops the face, but not gracefully. It's not a big softbox. His position is here. What's he got? He's got 2 wing lights clipping off of him. The athletic body, especially the sweaty athletic body, will pick up highlight really well. So these lights clip off of him and give him that electric line of light that's very, very popular now. bang, bang. Same group, right? Because they're equidistant, they're at the same angle, they should be at the same power, they're covering the same areas of his body. So temple, shoulders, arms. That was the least problematic of the lights. C group light, back here, from this distance, flush onto the flag, even with the grid, spread too much by the time it got to the flag. Just spread too much. So I had it taped off. This is a Honnold grid with additional taping on it, narrowing the window of the light. Just a bit of light coming out of that puppy now. This very tightly snooted gridded light over here, which is his key light, was in Group A. It was doing its job so well that it hit him here, and the ball was just like a dark rock in Chris's hand. So I had to get another light really quickly. I put it in Group A. With the TTL A group, I was losing control. This light was not firing at all. This light was firing too heavily, so I put them in manual. Now, with manual, I can find a middle ground. But the lights are at various distances, right? In the age-old way to change a manual light and its power, you know what you do? You move it closer or further away. Good look, way to go, Chris. Here we go. Cool. Okay, thank you, Chris. That was kind of fun. That took about 15 minutes. We're able to knock out an athletic portrait that has a little bit of character to it. Got the flag, got the edge lights, got the ball. Okay, the ball's underlit. Chris is hard lit with a spot grid. There's wing lights that's very electric for the athletic body. And then the background is lit with the American flag. And then what is not dominated by the flash just falls into kind of a bluish tone. So we're here in British Columbia now, okay, near Vancouver, Canada, and we're trying to do, in relatively simple fashion, a shot that indicates how you can stop motion and preserve the sense of motion. The overall concept is to show speed, is to show motion, even though we're shooting stills. And one of the ways to do that is to use a technique called flash and blur. You flash, which sharpens your subject, but you blur via the mechanism of shutter speed. Shutter speed is drawing out in response to fairly dim ambient conditions. Everything is moving, the whole world is moving at that point in time. But what is the saving grace in terms of retaining sharpness and freezing the action is the flash duration of the strobe. What I'm trying to do here is have a main or directional up above, and then have just a little bit of fill here. So this master is acting as a flash as well, which is not a typical situation that I certainly use. I usually just use the master as a master, but in this instance I'm going to get 2 points of view to the light, a main and a fill. This is radiating upwards. I'm actually sort of using the tailgate of the van here is kind of almost like a fill board, and then the one that's clipped to the actual tailgate the guys are going to use as their key light. So I'm just kind of playing back and forth here with seeing, you know, differentiating the quality of light. So I'm glad you guys got 2 video cameras running so you can get me from 2 different angles as I tumble out the back of the van. This is a largely monochromatic scene that might be punctuated by a big splash of red. We'll see. having a little bit of a problem with flash recycle because I'm shooting quickly. What? Alright, I figure if this is any indication, guys, this is working pretty well. We can probably get this done in about, I don't know, 3 or 4 runs or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright, we good?
Yeah.
So once again, I'm hanging on the back of a moving vehicle with absolutely no safety precautions or no thought as to any type of planning. You'd think I'd learn. I've been doing this for 35 years. You'd think I'd figured this out, but I don't. That's why I remain a photographer. Photographers, those who simply refuse to learn. So a shoot like this is really ad hoc, seat-of-the-pants stuff. We first started off with 1 flash at the end of the tailgate and found that worked okay, but when the guys came too close to the tailgate, it was too steep or severe an angle for them, and they were under the light. So then we moved that light back further into and put it on the struts of the actual tailgate. And then that didn't prove to be quite enough coverage when the 3 of them would come in. So then we went to a second light. So effectively now there's 3 flashes in the picture. There's the master, which is driving both of the lights that are clamped to the struts of the tailgate. And the master is also acting as a flash, albeit weaker than those 2 main lights. The ultimate kind of final math on the picture was that the ambient exposure on aperture priority was dialed in at -1. And then the 2 wing lights, if you want to call them the main lights, were dialed in at probably, at the end of the day, sort of in the plus range between plus 0.3, 0.7, 1.0. I kept playing with that. And then the master, acting as a flash, I dialed in as kind of just an overall fill. Okay, it's sort of, you know, maybe -1, just kind of pushing a little light directly from the axis of the camera. Not pretty light necessarily, okay, but again, just really, really simple stuff because we're trying mostly to get motion and the impact of these guys and how fast they're going. And the light just stands in service to that. So we got these 2 lights here, which basically it's copy light, really. They're in the same group, Group A, okay, channel 1. And you can see, roughly equivalent, you know, positioning, angle, everything, dome diffusers, all that stuff. And what it's doing is creating a field of light that'll get around 3 skaters right in here, okay? So the skaters sometimes were like this close, one here, lead guy here. So this light is dispersing enough to cover that field. And then my camera angle's right down in here, and that's got a little pop fill that's coming straight from the angle of the camera, which was good because these guys oftentimes would come down and do this type of thing. So I needed to get some light here because, as you can see, if I'm like this, these lights are above my eye line, and that's going to cause a shadow here. So this fill light here that's emanating from the camera position was very crucial in terms of pushing just some light to get in and under their helmets and get into their eyes. What we're doing today is a group photograph for Ladder 6. I'm a friend of the house. I've been a friend of the house since 9/11. Great bunch of guys. Done a lot of work both with them and for them. And they call me every once in a while and say, hey, Joe, can you come down and do this? Today is medal day, very important day. 6 guys in the house are getting medals from the mayor. They're all gonna head down there for the ceremonies. So families, relatives, wives, children are all coming in. It's a very big day of celebration for a department that's obviously been through a lot. It's a group photograph. This is it, the photographer's nightmare. 65 people for a very short amount of time. 65 firefighters who are not gonna listen to a single thing I say. I'll probably have 5-10 minutes max. I gotta work really hard to make this happen fast, make it fun, don't drop the ball, keep their attention, knock it out, get out of the way. Because this is still an active firehouse. We could get a call at any moment and these guys could roll.
So seated, standing, and then I guess we're gonna have to have another row of something for people to sit on or to stand on.
We have another row, another bench.
Okay.
And that should cover across the whole front.
Well, one thing we could do that might be helpful is let's just get the trucks forward. Can we get them, roll them forward a little bit? That works. So what we gotta do is coach guys to stand the way you guys are now. Like a head here, head here, head here. We gotta alternate heads. Any guy in the picture has to be able to see the camera with two eyes. Okay, so in other words, if I'm behind Joe here and I can see the camera, but I can't see it with both eyes, then I'm only gonna have half a face. So we gotta make sure that guys are just aware that they can really clearly see the camera. We're gonna bring 3 lights per side. Group A to the right, Group B to the left, TTL. Commander signal is gonna go on the hot shoe, okay? But my backup plan is to take SC29 cords and run the commander to a mini boom up overhead of me so I can get clear signal to the lights. So, strategy is gonna be get the lights high. So we got a D3S as a backup. We also should have a 2470 handy as a backup, okay? Stand by with the D3S because if I can't get enough power at 400, I'm gonna quickly go to 800. I'd rather do that with the D3S than the D3X. So that could be a quick change. I'm shooting a D3X, which it would be perfect for all the small faces, you know, the detail of it, the pixel structure, fantastic. But it's not a high ISO camera. So I'm gonna stay at 400, no more. If I feel I'm stretching the lights at 400, I'm going to quickly switch out that camera to D3S because it has better chip performance at higher ISO. I need depth. I need probably f8 minimum. Like to get f11. That should be enough height. Okay, switch me up. 2470, please. If we roll the trucks forward and I come straight on, I get everybody, no problem, straight on to the house, but I won't get the sign.
Yeah, you didn't get it last time.
You know, my fear is the hard sun. Bright sunny day, the sun's creeping around this way. When this sun comes blasting down the street, we got a problem. I'm gonna drive the hot shoe flash, the master, as a flash as well. If it doesn't look like it's picking it up, that's when you come in, Linda, bring in the SC29, I link it to the hot shoe, you go up and boom it right over me. Let's rig them up high. Okay. Keep coming. Keep coming. Okay, Wolf, right there. Linda, please do the same with that light on the far end there. Let's move it in a touch, please. All right, so we got a tier seated, we got a tier standing, we got a tier on a bench, and then we got tiers on the bumpers. The interior lights gotta be on, and let's get the emergency lights going too, just maybe we can pick up a little gleam or something like that from them. Okay, booming out and over. Let's put the mini boom, and we'll crank it up really high right here. Let's hang in there. Let's hang in there with the X. For small details, you know, faces, the X, I think, will be good. As long as we can stay at 400, we'll be all right. Cool. It was handy actually having done it 3 years ago. I was able to show them the picture and said, okay, this is what we're gonna do again. We're gonna try to mimic this picture. All right, here we go, guys. We need a row of guys on the bumpers, and then we need a row of guys on the benches. So front row has to sit down, right? Try to make sure you can see the camera with both eyes. So in other words, if you can just see it with one eye, you might be slightly behind somebody else. So make sure your face is clean and you kind of can really see the camera. Otherwise, I'll miss a piece of you. Guys in the front row, sorry to do this to you. You gotta shift a half a chair this way towards Benny's end. Sir, on the very end. Switch positions. We got any more height on these C-stands here? A little bit more height? Good. Look at the guy next to you. Make sure collars are good and all that stuff. Check yourselves out. Louis, stay clear of that rear view there. Eyes right here, to the lens. Perfect, way to go, guys. Hang in there. Stick with it. What do I got, a room full of Irish mourners here? Are we at a wake or something, fellas? Are there families all around? How do you put up with these guys? Guys in the front row, pressure's on. Smiles, okay, here we go. Last 3 frames, good smiles, here we go, ready. 1, stick with it, come on, 2, 3, here we go, ready? Come on, ladder 6, engine 9, let's go. Come on, yeah! One more time, yeah! All right. Could I slip in there for one picture? Absolutely. Good bunch of guys, went very well. The lights, it's not, as I said, a tour de force of lighting. It's just even, broad, copy light, basically. The main thing is make it short, sweet, and fun. Keep their attention. That's the deal. Group of people with small flash. Good way to start the day.